Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. Janet and I have been filming here at the Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin in their new location over on South Stoughton Road, and we're going to check in with Joe Jean later on in the program and just kind of check in and see how the transition is going. So we're excited to be here. But from dancing to dogs, we are now joined by Nate Mathis Vargas from Haus University. How are you, Nate?
Good, how are you?
Very good, very good. So people are going back to school now. They're kind of getting back into a more structured routine. Things aren't as open and fluid as they are usually during the summer. So obviously people are kind of taking into consideration what should we do with the dog.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about training classes, because before going back to doggy daycare, it's a good idea for people to put their dogs in training classes.
Absolutely. It's a good bonding experience for the dog and the owner, because they learn to take direction from you. I mean, even if you've already been to training classes before with a dog you've had in the past, or you've done training classes with the same dog, it's just good bonding for both of you. And whether it's either you doing it online and treating them, or you're taking a class in a group setting, I mean, all those things are beneficial for you and your dog. So I highly recommend training classes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say we own 2 dogs at home, and it's not often that we can have a full hour where it's just me and the dog, or my wife and the dog, just totally interacting with each other, undistracted.
Yeah.
So the point of that being a good bonding experience is a very good point.
Exactly, and then you learn things in the class. I mean, because a lot of the point of training classes isn't really training the dog; it's training the people how to train the dog.
Sure.
Because the instructor is talking to you about how to do these motions, and the dog is just following your directions. So. Doing it consistently at home after you take the classes, really helps. But that hour that you get to spend just focus on that one thing, and then they can see you giving them directions and the treats they get, obviously, it helps bond both of you, and they do well with that in any situation.
Can we talk about leashes?
Yes.
So, retractable versus standard. I'm a fan of the standard myself. I'm curious what you think.
Well, I am a fan of the standard as well. I mean, you have a lot more control, but I don't want to shame anybody who uses those other ones, because people feel strongly about this topic. But you have a lot more control with the standard leash, especially if you're walking. You're going to keep the dog closer to you. They're not going to keep going yo-yo out and back and forth. The other thing with those retractable leashes is if it does start to go out and say it slipped out of your hand and it drops to the ground, your dog's going to be chased by something, which is going to make them try to run away from you faster, because this thing is bouncing behind them that they're not sure why it's there, if they were spooked by something in the first place. Also, if it comes undone and you're walking and you wrap somebody up, or they get around a tree and you have to keep, it's just, those are good for taking them out in the backyard if you live in an apartment, so they can walk around and you're a fixed spot. But walking them down the street, those are not usually recommended. But
I have heard that you risk human and dog injuries when those can get wrapped around.
Yeah.
Also, I would think that you're teaching your dog to pull.
Yes,
because
exactly.
they're used to pulling and going where they want. So on a regular leash or a standard leash, they'd probably not be a very polite walker.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the 4-foot or a 6-foot lead is much more, because your dog is going to be, being close to you is going to be a much more natural thing for them to follow you also. And with the retractable leashes, they will go out and come back and go out, and it just teaches them that they can kind of just do what they want to. And
pulling works.
Pulling works, and especially because those things make that sound when they click, then it can make them pull even further than they would naturally, because that noise will get them like, what was that? So
Interesting. I always just find it, because I'm a fan of the standard leashes too, I would just think that you'd want to have the leash wrapped around your hand a few times. I don't feel comfortable unless I have the leash wrapped around my hand a couple times, and you can't do that with
exactly. I mean, they seem convenient, but I mean, sort of the poop bags and stuff in them and all that good jazz. But I mean, you're much more controlled, and it's a lot more, safe with a standard leash. They're just much better.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about, let's go back to Haus University again a little bit. Let's talk about appointments. If somebody wants to bring their dog in, do they have to do it on a recurring basis, or can you do one-time onlys or anything like that?
We don't require people to do every week or a set schedule, but we recommend it, especially in the fall, because we do get filled up, and people aren't going out as much as they do. But we try to be there for people's convenience. That's what we're there for. We're a convenience type business, so we want to fit your schedule, whatever works. If you want to, one week do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the next week do Tuesday, Thursday, or come one day a week, or whatever the schedule might be, we try to accommodate any of those type of things. But we do set up appointments if people want to for a year out.
Oh wow, okay, for up to a year.
Yep, up to a year.
Great.
So Haus University is a doggy daycare. You have 2 locations, and can you give a shout out to the locations and then what people should expect for their first day?
Okay, we have a location on Johnson Street at 825. It's between Livingston and Patterson Street, about 6 blocks north of the Capitol. And our other location is on Park Street between St. Mary's and Meriter Hospital. The first day, you should bring along your vaccine records, anything. We have a profile for them to fill out. We'll go over that in the morning with them. If you want your dog to have a lunch, you can bring that with you. And they're obviously, you have to bring them on a leash, and preferably a standard leash.
Preferably a standard leash. Good to know. Very good to know. Well, Nate and Mathis Vargas from Haus University, thank you so much for joining us today. We always learn something from you, which is what we're here for.
Yeah.
Don't go away. There is more Wisconsin Family coming up right after the break here at Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin. Stick around.